just looking at that, and we're continuing our conversation because these things are important. And some of the things that rose, or rather brought rise to this particular conversation, are the happenings of this week, whereby there was a crisis, and the question was, the people in these positions, what are they actually going to do about it? So whether that speaks to competence or not is something totally different. We're going to do something a little bit different now. The president is addressing the nation, so we're going to take a few minutes to hear what it is that he has to say. I'm going to patch into that, and we'll come back in just a minute. Don't go away.
Reduced by 19 shillings and 67 cents. Diesel reduced by Kenya shillings 40.25 per litre. And kerosene was reduced by Kenya shillings 115 per litre. Similarly, during the May-June 2026 pricing cycle, the government utilized another 7.7 billion for stabilization and forwent 8 billion shillings in VAT revenue. In total, during the current cycle, the government has spent 15.72 billion on stabilization for this month of May-June. As a result, super petrol prices were reduced by 15.87 shillings per litre, diesel reduced by 44.89 shillings per litre, and kerosene reduced by 78 shillings per litre. Just for context, without government intervention during this cycle, super petrol would today have retailed at Kenya shillings 230 shillings per litre instead of the 214. Diesel would be retailing at 277.75 shillings per litre instead of the current 232.86 shillings per litre. And kerosene would have retailed at 270 shillings per litre instead of the current 191 shillings per litre. Taken together, across April, May, and May-June 2026 pricing cycles, the government has spent a total of 28.19 billion on fuel price support through direct stabilization measures and tax relief interventions. These interventions have protected millions of Kenyans from even more severe economic hardship. I have further directed, after consultations with the leaders present here from the transport sector, and we had many hours of consultations with them yesterday, I have directed that in the pricing cycle, next pricing cycle, we are going to further reduce the price of diesel by a further 10 shillings for the June-July cycle to help stabilize pump prices and provide additional relief to consumers. Thirdly, through the government-to-government fuel supply framework, we have secured guaranteed fuel supplies despite global supply chain disruptions, ensuring uninterrupted fuel supply availability across the country. The arrangement has stabilized fuel pricing compared to the old spot market system, where prices fluctuated sharply every month. Before the G2G arrangement was introduced in 2023, oil importers faced intense pressure to secure US dollars within short timelines, driving rapid depreciation of the Kenya shilling and threatening fuel supply stability. By easing pressure on foreign exchange demand and ensuring predictable supply terms, the framework has protected the economy during the crisis as the one we have now. Without it, the country's situation, I tell you, would be much worse. And I want you people to talk to oil marketers. They will explain to you the kind of situation that was there in 2022 when we had a crisis like the one we have. Without a guaranteed supply, without the framework we have built, there would be a major crisis of foreign currency and there would be a major crisis of supply. The G2G arrangement has guaranteed supply even when we have disruptions, and has also made it possible for us to pay on terms that does not put pressure on our dollar reserves. I know there are those who are trying to turn this global crisis into politics. People seeking to exploit public pain for political gain, making reckless claims and pretending there are easy options. But leadership requires honesty, not political opportunism or playing populist politics. The reality is that no country can completely escape the global oil shock of this magnitude. Even advanced economies with far greater financial resources than Kenya are facing similar challenges. There are those asking government to remove all taxes and levies on fuel immediately. But we must ask ourselves honestly, if we stop collecting these revenues entirely, what public services shall we stop funding? Do we go back to the spectacle of stalled road projects that had become a hallmark across our country? Do we stop the fertilizer subsidy that is enhancing food security? Do we cut the security budget that helps us secure our borders, combat criminal gangs, and protect citizens? Surely, our hospitals and schools must continue to function, and we must continue to fund them. These are not easy decisions. Leadership requires us to make responsible decisions not only for today, but also for the long-term stability of our economy and our country. Because we do not know how long this crisis will continue, or whether prices may even rise further in the months ahead, we must act with care, responsibility, and sustainability in our mind. Fellow citizens, every nation facing this crisis is being forced to make sacrifices. Kenya too is making sacrifices, but they must be fair, responsible, and sustainable. Our responsibility as government is to solve today's problem without creating a bigger problem tomorrow. Our duty is to protect Kenyan families today while ensuring long-term stability of our economy. That is why government continues to review every possible measure to reduce pressure on citizens while safeguarding the economic stability of our country. We are engaging stakeholders across the transport sector, agriculture, industry, and business community to develop practical interventions aimed at reducing the impact on livelihoods and economic activity. This crisis is also a reminder that Kenya must never remain permanently vulnerable to external oil shocks and conflicts happening thousands of kilometers away from our borders. Therefore, the government of Kenya, working together with our East African partner states and the private sector, is determined to bring into production our oil reserves and resources in Turkana and across the East African region, alongside the development of a regional refinery to reduce our vulnerability to disruptions beyond our control.